What's up, everybody? We are back at the Kayak City. So I don't know if you guys remember my first video. It's like the first video I did here at Kayak City. Like, they let me come in the back, which, you know, we're back in the back. Yes, the baby right there. I made this portable transducer Garmin like screen. Everything goes in my tripod, so I could swap it from one Bonafide to another, which I did between the RVR and the PWR. That's the PWR. And it worked great. It worked so successfully for me for so long. Well, I'm doing a couple different things with the RVR now. It's going to be down the line. Anyways, what ends up happening is I don't necessarily need sonar in my RVR anymore. But what I do need is sonar in the PWR. And as you can see, I am the captain of excess. This is a stripped down version, by the way. I left most of the stuff at home. Seeing as I'm the captain of excess, I want more space. I want more space for my feet. I want to be able to like shimmy dance. I want to be able to catch fish and land them right in front of me, etc., etc. Well, the tripod was kind of taking up a lot of that space. So let's take a look real quick. I installed this foot steering system. I've kind of cut down and trimmed. This Garmin screen used to be sitting directly on my tripod. And so what I've done is I've streamlined the process. I got the captain's bridge right here at Kayak City. And then now I'm super excited to tell you, thank you again, Fishing with Gramps. JT, you're the man. The Trapdoor by KETCH. This is a PWR exclusive. So if you have a Bonafide PWR, this is something to look into, especially if you want more foot room. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get to cracking. We're gonna disassemble this tripod. I'm gonna show you everything that's in there and what's coming out and where it's going in the kayak. And then I'm gonna open up the Trapdoor and we're gonna get started. But first things first, we need to let the dogs out. First things first, this is what it used to sit like. The screen used to sit off here, but now that I have the captain's bridge, you know, the screen can sit up here. It's totally out of the way. It was nice here because it was, you know, easily accessible, especially in the RVR. It was really good to have close to me because the RVR is such a low seat. Well, this PWR has such a tall seat that I don't necessarily, it's more bending over to look at the screen, or I would raise the arm up and then it'd be in the way of me casting it. It was actually higher than this captain's bridge by the time I got done sitting in it comfortably. So I'm like, it's time. I got to figure something out. And then sure enough, I saw on JT's channel, the Fishing with Gramps. If you guys haven't checked it out, check it out. He got this KETCH trapdoor cover. So I thought that was just awesome. And I couldn't not. So first off, let's go ahead and open this thing up. As you can see, I have the power and the transducer cable. I mean, of course, they're looms together. I like the plastic loom. I mean, in a pinch, if I need loom, I'll cut one of those braided rod sleeves and use that with zip ties on either end. It works perfect. If you just need some quick wire loom and you just got to get wire management and you're, say, on the water or you're at location and you can't do it yourself, or you can't find a kayak shop that's got some of this stuff and you don't want to go by Home Depot, just cut one of your rod sleeves. It works perfect. But we're going to go ahead and open this up. So what I got in here is all my transducer cable that goes down to my through-hole kit, down to my transducer below. And I have this Yak Attack Naqua 20 amp battery because I always run 20 amps minimum to my screen because I like side scan, I like down scan, I like, you know, and I like doing it all day. So 20 amps is the way to go. And these things are super compact, lightweight, easy to basically put anywhere. In fact, I have one in my hole. You're going to see soon that runs the power for the cameras and eventually the lights. Hopefully we can get into that today. But for now, this is going to stack right on top of that in the hole because I'm now not going to run the wiring down here anymore. The power is going to go into the kayak, which I have already put on. The through-hole kit right here, I just put blanks in it for now. I'm going to be putting the power wire coming through here and the transducer wire. It's going to be running down and into my new trapdoor. I upgraded my SAE plug. I turned it into a USB-C. You can get that at Yak Power. It's actually legit. Honestly, I used my SAE plug I used a USB dongle going into it. So now that Yak Power has this, man, it was no brainer. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this guy apart and get this transducer off of here. So, first things first, there's 2 screws holding my transducer on. I'm going to go ahead and take those out. if I can. This is gonna be a long day. FYI, if you're having a tight reach to get to a bolt, sometimes an extension on your drill, like a longer tip. Longer tip never hurt nobody. So much easier. Now people might say, I would say, because I'm people, why don't you just get a secondary transducer and leave this thing set up? You know, that way you could, you know, all you had to do is swap the graph and the power. That'd be awesome, you know, and you know, that was a thought that crossed my mind. That's why I'm saying it. I'm not made of money, but if you are, I would suggest, if you are a big fan of Bonafide like me and you're using basically only their stuff, run it this way. Just get a secondary transducer. That way you can keep your mobile dry pod transducer set up for anything. But I don't have that kind of money, so this is what we're doing. So I'm gonna save this plastic loom, because if I can reuse it, this stuff is the best. Like I was saying earlier, you can use the rod sleeve, the braided loom, that's totally fine. But what I like about the plastic loom over the braided loom is I can drag a treble hook up against this and chances of it getting snagged are a lot less. Man, end of an era. I am gonna take this Mighty Mount track off though, because Mighty Mount is worth gold. Boom. Let's open this sucker up, huh? So first things first, you can see we got the trapdoor plate. We're open. Drop my knife on the ground. So we got the trapdoor itself. This unscrews. This comes up. Oh, they got little Dubro knobs on there. That's cool. KETCH sticker. Boop, 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 boop. All the hardware necessities. At least everything needed for this. And then we got the extension for the transducer. This was my question. Is the transducer plate gonna be plastic or aluminum? Plastic. Yes. Because not every transducer is the same. I'm sure they said it in their video. I wasn't paying too close attention, but my curiosity was like, man, if they make an aluminum plate on the bottom, it's gonna be real hard to drill holes for my transducer, but perfect. The arms, still metal. I like that the arms are still metal. I feel like that's just gonna be more stable, more stout. And then at any given time, if I want to change this plate or I get a new transducer and I don't want to keep drilling holes in this plate, I can get a piece of plastic, template this out, and make a whole new plate. Let's go see how this joker's gonna fit, huh? I should probably take all the screws out of here first. Oh, wow. That's gonna be so nice. I'm stoked. This is gonna be awesome. Well, let's set her up. One more thing before we get to setting her up. As you can see, I have the Garmin attachment on my transducer. I'm curious about just hard mounting the transducer straight to this plastic plate. We might get into that. Honestly, I just want to see how far these arms drop it in the slot to see if it's going to clear the plastic. I'm sure they've already done the math. It's going to clear the plastic because, you know, but they also made it general for all transducers. So do I need to keep my hinge plate on there or not? We're going to find out. Now, I will say, being an at-home guy, I do a lot of stuff at home. They have explanations on their website on how to do all this stuff. I could totally just go onto their website and check out the explanations and be able to do it all. But there's no instruction manual for the people who, you know, are not going to go to the website. But the cool thing is everything is really user-friendly, really easy. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory what screw goes where. You know, they have really separated the sizes quite a bit, made it real idiot-proof. All right, so now that we got it all together, like I said, I want to check for depth, but a couple little things. First off, if you're using the plastic, make sure that you use what's called, there you go. Make sure you use the countersunk side down. Not that I did it wrong, but for those people who don't really know about countersinking or anything like that, it helps the bolt sit. If you put that on the other side, it will definitely look really funny. So make sure that bugle head screw goes right in that countersunk slot on both sides. But I mean, this is kind of self-explanatory, so for the people who don't know. Let's go see how it fits. Kind of a wide pan view here, but man, I'm fitting right over those threaded holes. Everything seems to fit just right. Oh, like a glove. That thing just comes in and out, doesn't hit the plastic at all. Let's get an overview so you guys can see. Boom. Let's get this thing hooked up. Right now I'm testing bolt spacing because it looks pretty tight on this PWR. I mean, I don't know if this is actually going to, because see, this one sits, the holes actually look, how do I explain this? If you can see the off-centeredness of that hole right there, how it's just a little impeding just a little bit on the 1/4 threads, it's doing the same thing up top. So if I was to square one side, the other side would be that much further off. We're gonna make an example. So this is the original 1/4. You could use either this one or their longer, which I'm actually going to use, the Allen 1/4. In fact, just for namesake, we're gonna use this KETCH bolt they sent us. We're gonna put the 1/4 in right here, see? And as we tighten that down, don't need to tighten it all the way yet. Now, you can see that the plate is not exactly centered over the threaded slot. Now that comes into play because this is rotomolded plastic. Plastic is going to give and move and all that kind of stuff. So you can only be so accurate with it. But what I think I'm going to do is I might, ream out the hole in the plates a little bit because you can't change where the threaded slot is in the kayak itself. But before we get into that, or before I end up doing that, the whole reason I wanted to have this thing set up like this was so I could check the depth underneath. I come under here. Let's get you. Hi, guys. That plate sits at about 1/2 inch, where you guys can see it, 1/2 inch below the hole. So, or above the hole. So I will be, if I flat mount my Garmin right here, I will have some obstructed side view potentially. I don't exactly know. I don't think it'll be too bad, but I might just leave my arm on my Garmin anyways, because I like it sitting kind of low in the water. Well, hi, Kit. This is Kit. Yep, we're going to work on that next. So don't forget, take this piece off your tripod, because if you don't take it off your tripod and you put all this together, it's a pain in the butt to get on later. Whoops. All right, everybody. So I drilled out just a little bit, just the offset on that plate, because like I was saying, rotomolded plastic, once it cools, it's a little bit different, and this is a general thing. So if it was me, like if I was to give advice to KETCH USA or KETCH Outdoors, which I don't think they care what I have to say, but if they did, I would make this a slot. Just right here, just a slot right there. So that way, no matter where your bolt lines up once the plastic is cooled, you could still basically center your bolt and drop it in. That's me. Anywho, we're set up. We're ready to go. I have checked it to see the tightness to make sure that the clip fits right in here. It does. I moved my captain's bridge out of the way so I could flip it up and down a bunch of different times and all that kind of fun stuff. Anywho, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mount. And I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'm going to mount the Garmin right here, the transducer, straight to the bottom of this plate. The reason why, James brought up a good point. It shoots down at a cone, so the sides of the kayak aren't going to obstruct it. And it makes for a more snug fit, more flush, because with that arm, I would have to push it all the way to the front, and the chances of the transducer hitting, if this thing ever flexed, it would hit. So gonna take that arm off. I'm gonna use this arm, these 4 holes, as my template onto the plastic plate on the trapdoor. Like I said, I'm taking these 4 screws out. Sorry, it's out of the screen, but sorry. So I'm gonna be drilling a hole for the cable, and then this screw hole pattern right here, right into this plate. So here's another little fun thing. This is the plate that it comes with. These are the screws that were, in my transducer. Screws are a little too shallow. I'm not gonna get enough bite into the transducer itself to actually mount the transducer. So I'm gonna have to find the same thread screws somewhere around the shop here, a little bit deeper, so I can screw the transducer straight to the plate. Just in case you guys are curious, the Garmin series of transducers, they take M4s, and I got M4 12s and M4 16s, just so I could, choose the depth. I went ahead and I drilled out my plate. I might have to mod those holes just a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and drill the hole now for my transducer cable. So I snug this thing straight down to the plate. Definitely need a new drill bit. It melted the plastic more than it cut it, but it'll work. So it's a circle hole, but I'm actually gonna have to flute cut back a little bit so that the wire will not be ripped straight up. Okay, so I drilled the holes, I reamed out the hole for the plastic so that the cable can come through. So now you guys can kind of see what you're looking at. It's a little bit more of a mod than you would expect. Honestly, every transducer is different, so I get why they didn't give you like a slotted area or templates and stuff. So when my transducer is fully mounted, it's squared on there, it's ready to go. It doesn't hit. So now it's just a matter of running the wire through and then wiring it in the kayak. I'm gonna go ahead and use these little KETCH, who'd they use? I'm gonna go ahead and use this KETCH wiring kit. I usually use the KETCH gear. I love the KETCH gear, but I'm gonna go ahead and use what came with the package, with the product, so you guys can see it complete. All right, we are set up. Transducer's mounted, cord's going in. I was showing this to James. He stopped in the back for a minute to take a look, and he did say a good point. I step on this, and it's done, it's over. So maybe finding a different way to keep it propped up. I don't know, a sliding arm or something. And another thing I was thinking is there's no weather stripping on this. So it's literally gonna be hard mounted to, well, not hard mounted, it'd be through bolted to the kayak itself. Maybe I might end up adding some weather stripping. I'm curious how wet it's gonna be. My kayak's reasonably dry. I keep the scuppers in most of the time, so it's reasonably dry in there unless it's a crazy day. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get this installed right now. I'm gonna go ahead and mount these 2 things to the kayak, and we're gonna take a look at it from top and bottom, and then I'm gonna run the transducer wire, and we're just gonna keep on rolling. All right, so it's in. Solid. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna square this up, get these bolts in real quick. Start with the top, just because that was the one I had to mill out a little bit. Bottom. Okay, wrench them down. When you are wrenching these things down, like, I don't know if anybody's ever told you, it's threaded inserts in plastic. Wrench till it stops. Don't keep twisting. Unless there is rubber or foam involved. And there is no rubber, there is no foam, there's no seal around this of any kind. So, solid as hell. Now the curiosity is how to keep the transducer cord out of this connection. So when I go to lock it up and out of the way while I'm transporting, I don't smash my transducer cord. Fun problems for me to figure out. Now that it's in, we get to the tricky, not so tricky part. I'm going to wire this, the transducer, and put in a new battery down inside my hole. So, let's take a look. Over here, this is my 20 amp that runs lights, camera, whatever. I don't have lights. Hopefully we get into that today, but maybe not because of how long it's taking to do this. This is going to mount right above it. This is going to be my sonar only battery. So I'm going to mount this sucker in basically the same way I have that one down there with some zip ties and, you know, little duct tape and bubble gum. I'm going to go ahead and run my power back through here. And that will be my sonar. Will be all hard mounted right here. I can connect it, disconnect it, because they're going to be coming out. Well, you can't see it, but there's a port right here. All my power and my transducer will be coming out to connect to my sonar right here on top of my captain's bridge. Also, you might notice these two holes right here. I used to have a bungee through there. I don't anymore. I keep the bungee down here at the bottom of the plate. The only reason being is because this actually fits up inside the well of my hull. But that way, I do the bungee cord. I don't do the hard mount. I like the bungee cord because, sure, it keeps it tight and in place. But if I need to work on any of these connections or anything going on electronically in the kayak, this plate, hopefully I don't knock over the iPad when I'm doing this. This plate will actually come out of that well. And then I can work on everything back here. Look at that rat's nest. Okay, so, I mean, all that's set up. I got it all in. Got my KETCH through-hole wiring kit set up. I went ahead and just a jumble of wires back here, right back here, but I'm working on it as we speak. I just wanted to give you guys an update. Update is, it's really interesting getting 3 wires through a smaller line through, or KETCH through-hole kit. So, yeah. It was fun. All right, I got the plate back on. The wires all organized. I got both of my batteries stacked right here. I got sonar. I got the rest of the kayak. So, let's take a look and see how it goes. I have absolutely, without a doubt, way more foot room in this now. I have like a full flat platform to fish off of, which was, you know, the goal to begin with. But before we get too far, let's make sure I didn't mess something up. James made these cool hook hangers. He made me one. It's pretty tight. I'm stoked. All right, just turn on, please. I just want to make sure that you're going to work okay. And then it's a matter of setting depth because with the Garmin and the captain's bridge right here, the trapdoor actually hits against my captain's bridge right here on the front edge, just enough to where it won't sit to travel with the transducer up. But the cool thing is that 1/2 inch that we were looking at earlier on the transducer actually recesses the transducer enough to where the hull blocks me from actually rubbing against anything, unless it's like a rock that comes right down the middle of my kayak. So I think I'll be all right. Got on, boom. Go to combos, because whatever. Let's do my fave combo. Boom. And of course it's not, you're not going to see anything because we're not in the water. But fully functional, ready to go. I might wrap this wire right back here. I'm going to loom this back up just to, you know, just because I like it that way. I'm not going to put a single piece of loom on this wire, but I might shove it in a little bit more because there's a lot of it protruding. But other than that, I have minimal to no trip hazards. I can land a fish right in front of me. I can dance on my dance floor, and that is the goal. Thanks for watching.